hear you.
Very good, very good. I'm excited. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take it to the next slide, please.
Sounds good.
All righty. Hey, everybody. My name is Gerald Costigan, and I'd like to welcome you to the February 12th Enagic Distributor Training. So this is going to be the first in an ongoing series for the month of February. For the next 3 Saturdays, today included, I'm going to be doing an online training at the same time, same place. So on my personal Facebook page is where this is going to be happening at. And it will be Saturday from 5 to 7 Pacific Standard Time. Today, next Saturday, which is the 19th, and the following Saturday, which is the 26th. We do have a lot of stuff in store today, as well as those future ones. They're all going to be different, okay? Now, before I get started, I really wanted to make sure that, because I know there's a lot of people who don't know who I am. One of the things that you're going to learn real quick is, one, I speak relatively fast. So people are encouraged to listen quickly, okay? The other thing is I have a lot of experience and with Enagic and this project and the business and a lot of different pieces to it. And for those who might not know me, because, the last 2 years with the whole pandemic and everything, a lot of people have kind of faded off into almost obscurity. And so I want to reintroduce myself to a lot of the people who might not, I want to reintroduce myself to the people who do know me, but I want to make sure that I introduce myself properly to the people who don't. Before I jump into that, though, I do have some housekeeping that I want to read real quick just to make sure we're all on the same page so that this can be a fantastic training for everybody, okay? So please just bear with me. Yes?
Before we go any further, can we get some thumbs up in chat if audio sounds fine?
Oh, that's true. I'm so sorry, you guys. Yes, if you guys have good audio, you can hear me okay, see me okay, and all that good stuff, please pop a thumbs up in the chat. And I'm actually going to speak about that right now as well, okay? So here's our housekeeping stuff. Number 1 is please interact with the chat. Most social media platforms use an algorithm that rewards exposure to those who have a lot of viewer interaction. So please be active in chat. But also, please keep it to the training. You might see someone that you know in chat, and right now is not the time to catch up. Okay, if you see somebody in chat that you know and you want to throw them a hi, how you doing? That's great. But this shouldn't be the thing about how are the kids, how the job thing go. But that's not what this is for. Okay, so make sure that we keep on topic. All right. I am going to be doing some giveaways during the training. Now, unfortunately, because of very expensive shipping fees, the giveaways are only for US-based distributors. Okay, my apologies for that. I've tried it the other way. It just does not work. So when we do the drawings and the giveaways, this is how we're going to actually work it. A question is going to be asked, and the first person in chat that we see, I need to make sure that I clarify that, because sometimes what you'll see on your device or your computer or whatever differs from what we see. Because we're running this training, we have to go by what we see. So the first correct answer that we see in chat will be the winner of that particular drawing. If you are selected as the winner, if you end up being the first one to pop the correct answer, please send me a private message with your name and mailing address so I can send you your prize. Now, don't just send me a private message going, I won. We know who the winners are going to be, and there's only going to be 2 of them, okay? So it's very important for that. Also, if you're outside the U.S. and would like copies of Ride the Wave 6, the Going 6A edition, Amazon is the best place to purchase those. The book is available in every international market served by Amazon, so you may be able to order locally, which is going to save a lot on international shipping charges. So for those, I know a lot of people were in the group chat, on the Facebook group chat, a lot of people were asking about Ride the Wave, and so I wanted to make sure I clarified that. There will be a special discount code provided today during this training that's going to have 20% off of my materials, except for Ride the Wave through Amazon. Okay. Now, Ride the Wave is available to purchase through our online store, and it will be subject to the 20% off. But if you purchase through the Amazon platform, unfortunately, I can't extend that. Okay. Oh, one last thing. During the Q&A session at the very end of this, please keep your questions generalized. Meaning, if you're dealing with a specific situation, keep the question you're going to ask to the general topic of concern, not the actual specific situation. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say that you have a situation that involves your uncle and he wants to know this. I don't need to know it's your uncle. Just say, it's more about in this situation of, someone wanting to know more about this, what's the best way to address it? Okay, I hope that makes sense. So just generalize it. We don't really need all the specifics for it. Okay, so that is the housekeeping. Now, for those who don't know me, for those who do know me, actually, you know what? Real quick, I'm going to do another interactive thing. If you know me and I have either helped you with your business, provided any kind of assistance, guidance, whatever, you've seen me at a training previously, whatever, throw a big thumbs up in chat. I'd like to get an idea of how many of the people that are with us right now know me and how many don't, okay? So if you've seen me before, please just throw that thumbs up so we have an idea, okay? For those who don't know me, I want to just show you a few things, okay? So these are the first things I want to show you. All right, these are all trifold brochures. Hopefully you can see these okay, because I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so the original Ride the Wave. Ride the Wave, the second edition. Ride the Wave, the third edition. Ride the Wave, the fourth edition. Ride the Wave, the fifth edition. And currently our Ride the Wave, the sixth edition, the Going 6A edition. So I don't know if you noticed or not, but every one of these books got thicker. Because I added information to it as I progressed and I knew more info, I made sure that I shared that info with everybody. So we are in our sixth version of Ride the Wave, and in my opinion, it's one of the best. It covers all sorts of really good stuff. Okay, Market King. Right now, I'm just going to be showing you some stuff, and some of it might not even make any sense to you. You might just see this and be like, what is that? What is that? What is that? Right now, don't worry about what it is. The reason I'm showing you this is not because of what this is. Oops, I don't know if I showed you that one long enough. Boop. Boop. Okay, now to make all that make sense, I made all of this. I wrote every word in every single one of the things I just showed you, including these. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Yes, these are the ones that Enagic sells and the ones that Enagic provides. I was the one that made these for them. These are both my handiwork, cover to cover. So is all that other stuff. So for those who don't know me, I submit this as my qualifications for you to trust what I'm going to tell you. That's what I wanted to show you this for. Because for me in business, first thing I want to know is, why the hell should I listen to somebody? That's the first thing I want to know. What qualifications do they have that make it that I should listen to them? Okay? So that's the only reason that I did this. Now, because of how much stuff we have to cover, I'm going to jump right into this. Let's talk about what our agenda is. I might be glancing down a little bit because I do have a PowerPoint in front of me, so I can actually, stay on track as well. But I know most of the stuff, but if I'm glancing down, that's all I'm doing, guys. So we're going to start with here's our agenda. The hot topics, which is definitely a top priority. Getting started right. Some sampling strategies. Overcoming price objections. I think this is a big one for a lot of people, so make sure that you really pay attention. But that's another thing too. Hey, look, I'm the one giving the presentation, and I still have a pen and paper to take notes because sometimes I'll say something. So make sure that you've got a pen and paper. Take some notes. Yes.
People are curious where they can acquire the materials.
Okay, so I will be covering that. The only reason I'm not saying it right now is because I don't want that to become a distraction, because I've actually done that before, and what happens is people jump over there to buy some stuff and they miss part of the training. So I'm going to give out the code and exactly where to get everything toward the end of today's presentation. So I'm just going to ask everybody to, for the time being, let's focus on this. Okay, let's really stay focused on this. Let me get through what I'm going to, and then it's going to really help you go, oh wow, you know what? These are the things I need based on the things Jerry talked about. Okay, so getting started right, sampling strategy, overcoming price objections, materials and resources, and then our Q&A session at the tail end. Okay, so let's jump right into this. Go to the next slide. So the hottest topics right now in Enagic are medical claims and income claims. And we should all know this, okay? If we don't, I don't know why we don't know this. Because I've been in this now 15 years, since 2007, okay? Since 2007, we have been saying, don't make medical claims and don't make income claims. And nothing's changed, okay? So let's just take it to the next slide. And I want to give you an example, okay? If you want to look back and find out exactly why you don't want to do medical claims. Am I sitting on Mr. Oshiro right now? I'm trying. This was from May of 2019, the Enagic Global eFriends, which is available on the Enagic website, okay? So you can go and get this, the May 2019 version. It's the Road to 6A article. Let's go ahead and go to the next page. It explains why there are no medical claims, that there's no cure, no miracle, no treats, no diagnose, no prevents, none of that. You know, recently I saw something on Facebook that somebody said, I guess someone in Canada, it might have even been the Enagic Canada office, they put together like don't do these things. And everyone was like, oh gosh, it's so nice to have the information of what not to do. No, we've been telling you what not to do since I got here. It was 15 years ago. I'm going to only base it up to that, but I know for a fact the last 15 years, this had been hammered into all of us. So if you're choosing to not abide by that, realize you're choosing not to, okay? And that choice could be detrimental not to you, but not just to you, but the entire distributor base, okay? Go ahead and go to the next one. So we have the no medical claims and we have the no income claims. No promises, no guarantees, no assurances, no check waiving, no check posting. It's extremely important that you understand the real reason why we can't do these things. It's because of laws that are on the books that could literally get people in a lot of trouble and can get Enagic shut down as an operating business in the United States. If that was to happen, you need to understand every single person who has tried to make the distributorship some form of an income producing opportunity for them, whether it be on a part-time basis, a full-time basis, or a freaking big-time basis, it would be lost for everybody. That's why it's crucial that we do not engage in these practices of medical claims and income claims, okay? It's very important. Let's go to the next slide, please. Here's the only three exceptions, okay? Go ahead and hit it once. Yeah, there aren't any. So stop trying to find one, okay? When someone says there's no medical claims and there's no income claims, you go, okay, I understand that. But what if? No, there are no but what ifs. There are no but what ifs. It doesn't exist. Have it in your head. And here's the thing, okay? The only person that you can truly make sure follows the rules is you. So if somebody else is doing it, that's not your invitation to also break the rules. As a matter of fact, it's your invitation to stay the hell away from that particular person, okay? Because it's telling you that this person, one, doesn't care about anybody else but themselves because they're putting the entire thing in jeopardy. They're putting the entire business in jeopardy, okay? So it's really important everybody understands that and adheres to this. This is a big deal for Enagic, and if you really care about this company, the mission, by the most basic of basics when it comes to this type of business. And those two items are the most basics of basics. Okay? All right, let's move on. Getting started right. I hope everybody has their water. Okay. Go ahead. Okay, so we're going to cover a very unusual new distributor to-do list, okay? This is now one of the things I want everybody to understand as well is I've been relatively successful in Enagic. I've done pretty well. I've actually done trainings like this prior to Enagic, so I have some experience with this stuff. The things that I cover are the things that I feel are actually important. And you know what? Before I go on, I do want to address something that I think is really important. How many people do we have on right now?
104.
Okay, 104. This is good. For the people that are on right now, there was a Enagic training today by Enagic corporate staff. And I just want to make sure, some people might think that, I'm a jerk for saying this, but the reality is Enagic corporate staff are part of the company that manufacture the machines. Enagic does not actively market the product. That's what our job as a distributor is. Okay. So I have the utmost respect for corporate staff, but the reality is when it comes to stuff in the field, when it comes to actually working this business, unless you have become an actual 6A by going through the process of selling 100 machines on your own accord through your own efforts, it's one of those things you're being taught how to swim by someone who's never been in the water. So keep that in mind. Yes, it is extremely important to listen to corporate, especially when it comes to stuff like about the machines. There's no one more qualified for that. But because of the nature of this business, you also need to keep in mind that there's people out in the field that actually know a heck of a lot more when it comes to the actual interactions and things that actually happen in the course of being a distributor for Enagic that corporate staff simply will not have. Okay, so that's just a reality. So I want to make sure I threw that out there because you're going to get both sides of the coin is basically how that becomes beneficial for you. So make sure that you listen to corporate, but on the same token, man, you got to make sure that you also understand they're not in the same trenches that you are in. Okay, and sometimes it's better to listen to somebody who you have been in the trenches with. Actually, not better, more advantageous. It can be more advantageous because they might know a trick or something that other person doesn't know. Okay? All right. So let's go through our to-do list. You want to first take this business seriously. It seems like it should be a pretty standardized type thing, but a lot of people don't. Okay? The reality is if you treat your business like a hobby, it will produce like a hobby. And that's just the way that it works. So you want your business to succeed, treat it like a business. And that means you got to treat it seriously. Get the right attitude, man. You got to have a positive attitude, period. There's going to be ups and downs. There's probably going to be a lot more downs than there are ups. But the ups are big enough to compensate for those downs. So just realize it's part of the way that it is. Stay with a positive attitude because that's going to be the positive attitude is what's going to be able to get you through when everything else is telling you not to. All right. Get ready to learn and master the processes. This whole business is about processes, and that's what we want to learn, okay? Prepare for necessary sacrifices. There are sacrifices people need to make if they want to be successful. You might have to put in a couple extra hours after your regular job. You might have to go to a meeting that you really are not feeling up to going to. But the reality is, if you're trying to build a thriving business, you are going to have to work harder than if you have a job. Okay? And it's a funny joke that they always say, someone will start their own business and work 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40 hours a week for somebody else. It's like, it makes sense, okay? Commit to the success of not only yourself, but also your team, and develop that just do it, no excuses, never quit mentality, okay? How you start your business really does determine where it goes. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go forward. So we're going to start with the basics. That's where you should start. Basics, basics, basics. And if you know what? If you're a fellow distributor who's even been in it as long as I have, for 15 years, or maybe even longer, I would recommend that you look at this and remember the basics. Because I think one of the things that happens is we forget the basics because we're too cool. We've been around too long. We know too much. So we forget to practice the basics. And you have to remember, just like children learn what they see, not what they're told. So your team is going to learn what they see, not what you hope they learn. So if you're not doing the basics, neither are they, okay? So learn the basic recipe of the business, which is share the product, share the business, promote the events. That really is the recipe, if you will. You want to practice on your hot market. Why? Why would you want to practice on your hot market? You would seem, because they'll be forgiving when you screw everything up. When you don't do your ORP meter right and it's positive when it should be negative and negative when it should be positive and none of the colors work and you spill stuff out. That's why you practice with your hot market. In your hot market, closest friends and family. That's who that is. So that's always where you want to start. Because again, they're more forgiving. They'll allow you to screw up and still forgive you and maybe even purchase the product still. Whereas you go to a stranger and mess up, you're done, okay? You want to make sure that you work with your referrer, your mentor, learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And in my opinion, one of the most important things, assume responsibility for your own success. And what I mean by that is do not wait for your sponsor or mentor to be available to do this or that for you to succeed. You need to figure out how to get your success on your own accord, because if not, you're waiting for other people for your success. And that's the worst thing in the world. So let's go on. So learn about the basics of the water. You know what? Start with like the 8.5, 9.0, 9.5. This is one of the most basic of basics, but a lot of times people don't realize that this is on a logarithmic scale, much like the Richter scale for earthquakes. And basically, it is a 10 times jump every time. And that's why those higher, like 9.5 levels, they're much, much higher than neutral. And that's why that alkalinity and the active hydrogen and all the stuff that's, beneficial for the body as far as being an antioxidant and all that good stuff. That's why it's important to actually understand those things. So the first thing you want to do is get familiar with the water. Okay? Go ahead. All right, then once you're familiar with the water, drink that stuff. Matter of fact, cheers. Drink. If anybody's read Ride the Wave, you kind of know what my personal story is and how things happened within my family. Once we started drinking the water, we had some detox reactions. We had a bunch of different things happen that really got my attention. Okay, so drinking the water, that's why it's such an important thing. You want to make sure that that drinking the water is a priority for you. All right, drink enough every day. Involve the entire family, and that includes pets, anybody that's in your household. If you're sampling somebody or you've got a machine, everybody in your household should be drinking the water. Why? Because just like in my household, the irony was when we started drinking the water, I wasn't the one that really had the most effect. It was my wife and my son. But the effects that happened were enough to get my attention. Had I been the only one drinking that water at that time, we would not be having this training today, because I would have never moved forward. But because I saw these changes with some of the most important people in my life, it got me, okay? Everything good on chat? Everything looking good? Okay. And also take it with you. I know it sounds odd. That's actually why I came up with the original designs and concept for this. It was to be an icebreaker. But you can't break the ice if you don't take it with you. I've had some people go, I don't want to, before lockdown and everything, whenever we would go to a restaurant, I'd have either this guy or one of these, and I'd set it right on the table. And you want to talk about a conversation starter? I actually sold a machine to a. Is everything good?
Yep.
Okay. I actually. Huh?
The camera went out for a second.
Okay. Is it gonna? Okay.
There you go.
Is it gonna do that again?
No.
Okay. We're still trying to work out some of the tech. If you guys saw my office right now, you'd be like, you're an idiot, Jerry.
Yeah, you were just frozen like this for a second.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
I was in my. Hi, welcome. But no, you set this on the counter, man, on the table, and I actually sold a machine to a waitress at a claim jumper because I bring my water with me. So, learn how to use your bottle as an icebreaker. I mean, that really is it's a great thing. Also, keep in mind that the water is the bridge. Okay, it connects everything. One of the reasons opportunity is because if you lead with the opportunity and the person says no, where do you go? How do you come back? How do you come back? You don't. But if you lead with the water and you say, hey, you should try this, it might be good for you, you can continue to come back. Why? Because the water doesn't have to be a hard no. Whereas somebody tells you no on a business opportunity, typically that is a hard no. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So basically, you want to commit to breaking those bad habits, the sodas, the bottled waters, the sports drinks, the energy drinks, all that type of stuff. You need to commit to cutting those out completely. Why? Because cutting those out are also going to help you gain improvement faster. Okay? So if you want to become a product of the product, make sure you're not hindering your own progress. Okay? So, sharing the water, you want to master how to give away free water, okay? I think it's really important that you learn what not to do first, though. So, no brilliant ideas. When you're first starting out, learn how to do this stuff, okay? Don't go whale hunting. You know what whale hunting is? I'm going to go sell to every restaurant, the biggest restaurant chain in the United States. You know what? Don't go whale hunting before you've caught a minnow, okay? You need to learn the processes, all right? And don't try to reinvent the wheel. We know what works, okay? The founder of this company is very specific about the way he wants this business to work and what his ultimate vision is. And people don't need to challenge that. If you do, go start your own ionizer company. Don't come into what somebody else has built and then think, oh, I could rebuild this better than they did. If you think you can build something better, then go do it, but do it somewhere else. Okay, because there's people here that believe in the mission, believe in the way to do it, and we're the ones that, we do it every day, okay? So don't reinvent the wheel. And again, start with those easiest markets, which is your hot and warm markets. Those are the people that know you, trust you, and they're cool with doing you a favor, like trying the water, okay? Make sure that you have the mindset of, if you're near me, you're going to get wet. And it's with this, because you're going to splash them with Kangen water. So when you're sharing, it's really important to learn from the mistakes of others. It's funny, I have this graphic up there. When we first started, we were giving out 5-gallon jugs of water. Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds, okay? So 5 gallons of water weighs 40 pounds. Now, we've actually had little old ladies that were, trying to manage pouring out a 40-pound bottle of water and getting water all over the place. So we learn things along the way, and it's really good for you to take some of that knowledge and those lessons that we've learned and use it for your own stuff. Okay? So make sure that you're learning those things. Everything cool? Okay, let's go to the next one. So the getting right started summary, okay? First, take this business seriously. Very important. Get the right attitude. Again, a very positive one. Learn the recipe of the success of this business and follow it. Drink the water. Develop your story. Make drinking the water a priority for you and your family, and learn how to effectively share the water. Because starting right is actually the foundation of your business, and how you start will really determine where you go. Okay? Let's go to the next page. Okay, I think before we start the next section, let's do a quick giveaway. So what we're going to be giving away is going to be 10 of the physical fitness magazines. And right now, I'm going to let everybody know the magazines are the way to go, in my opinion. And the main reason is because, so we're going to be giving these away. Again, remember what I said during the beginning? I'm going to ask a question. Whoever puts the correct answer in chat first that we see, we will announce who that person is, and that person will be the winner, and they'll need to send me a direct message with their name and address so I can get it to them, okay? So here is our question for the 10 physical fitness magazines, and this is only for domestic USA distributors. Again, I'm very sorry for that, but it's just the way that we have to do it. So here is your question. And the first one in chat is the one who's going to get it that we see, all right? In what year did Enagic start operations in the United States of America? Again, in what year did Enagic start operations in the United States of America? See, and it's important that you know a question like that, because the foundation of the company is very, very strong.
We have our winner.
Okay, fantastic.
Antonio Misajone.
Antonio.
2003.
Congratulations, Antonio. He put the correct answer of 2003, which means next year will be the 20th anniversary of Enagic USA, which is a big deal too. You're going to get 10 of these for free there, buddy. So make sure you send me a private message with your address and your full name and address and everything, and mailing address, and those will get shot out to you. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this next section, which is sampling strategies. Drop the anchor. Okay, so what is the definition of anchoring? So anchoring is connecting a new person to the project, and you can do that through proper direct sampling, proper indirect sampling, and proper exposures, okay? Anchoring is basically securing the interest of those behind your prospects. That's why it's called anchoring. It locks them in, okay? Effective anchoring can improve sales by literally as much as 10 times, maybe even more. And practicing anchoring means that that's actually what you're teaching. Okay, and I'll explain that a little bit more as we go. Okay. So anchoring through effective sampling. You want to learn the process of sampling, getting them to say, yes, I'd like to try this water, okay? That's really the first thing you want to do is get them to say, yes, I would like to try it. Okay. You want to start, if it's possible and the person's local to you, you want to start giving them the water by delivering it to them. See, I know some people are like, well, I'll just have the person come over to my house and get it. Well, if you do that, understand that after about 2 weeks, they're going to quit. They're going to stop. They're going to miss coming to you. They're going to have something come up, and the effort that you had of filling those bottles or water bags for them to sample them will just get flushed down the toilet, is basically what will happen. You want to start by delivering them the water. You want to make drinking the water for them as easy as possible. Well, why, Jerry? Why would I want to do that? Because if you make it as easy for them as possible, you're going to increase the possibility that they actually drink the water. And if they actually drink the water, then they can actually have some improvements that are noticeable to them that can help them develop a position that they're going to be in to be ready to buy. So that's one of the main reasons, okay? You got to be consistent too. You can't be like, and you got to do it every 3 days. If you're going to sample, that's it. That's the out, because the properties of the water start to degrade too much after 3 or 4 days. So providing them with water that is pretty much pointless after a week, you can't give them a week's worth of water. You have to give them a couple of days worth of water to make sure that the properties remain fresh. And that's going to have the best possibility of actually having an impact on them, with them actually drinking the water. So consistency with freshness is absolutely critical, okay? Now you also have to understand that you're teaching the person receiving the samples how to sample by providing them samples. They see the process. They see you bringing it to them. They see you come, literally, they see you delivering it to them. They see you giving them the materials that you for it or whatever. They see all these things. So you're literally teaching them how to do the process by them just receiving it. And that process is how to be a distributor. And so maybe it's a little sneaky and we're doing it kind of backwards, but what we're essentially doing is training somebody before they even know they're being trained. Okay? Now you want to learn the difference between fingers and strings. I'm going to cover that in just a second. And it's really important that you don't just become a water delivery person. That's not the intention. There are very specific time frames. There's very specific things that you want to do with sampling when you're using that as a business building strategy. Okay? So let's go ahead and go to the next and talk about fingers. So fingers are essentially the people that you are directly giving water to. So let's say that I'm giving water to my buddy Bill, okay? And he would be one of my fingers. Now, here's what your question, how many fingers should you have? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25? Well, I like to think of it like this. Like in real life, I only have 10 fingers. Yeah, I know 8 fingers, 2 thumbs. I get that. But 10 fingers, okay? I don't think you should have more than 10 fingers. And when I explain what strings are, you'll really understand why, okay? So a finger is simply the individual that you're sampling, all right? Go ahead. Finger facts. Each finger means a major commitment to you. That's the other reason I don't think that you should have more than 10. I think 5 to 10, it should be your max. You want to find fingers. Those are direct prospects. Fill bottles and water bags. That's basically prepping their water samples for them. You want to deliver the water. You want to keep track of when you gave it to them. One of the things that I like to do is pick, like, let's say that I realize that 2 days a week is perfect for giving somebody water samples, like on a Wednesday and a Saturday or something like that. So what I will do is I'll pick Wednesday and Saturday as my designated sampling days. I don't do it on Tuesday and Sunday or Thursday and Sunday or Tuesday and Friday. I do it on just those 2 days. So if I find somebody who, let's say it's Thursday, and I say, okay, fantastic, I'm going to bring you water over on Sunday. That's when I actually do this. So I'm giving them a couple of days so I can keep better track and have my efforts only be 2 days a week instead of 7. Okay, so pick your sampling days, and remember to keep track. Okay, you want to also provide information, and that means, like the brochures, the magazines, there's all this different stuff that you can give a person to help with reinforcement of newfound knowledge and information that they're getting by drinking the water. And usually when somebody starts drinking the water, they look into other stuff. They're looking at things that are health related. So it's a good thing to give them more information so that that information can start answering some of those questions that they're going to inevitably have, okay? And also answer questions. And if you're not sure about the answer to a question, you find the answer to a question, okay? Everything good? Okay, continue. All right, now let's talk about strings. So a string is each person who you are indirectly providing water samples through your direct prospect or through your finger. So looking at this little graphic right there, I know it might look a little confusing, like what the hell is this? So the first one is your direct prospect. So let's say, remember I'm giving water to Bill? Well, Bill really likes it. And I say, hey, Bill, you know, one of the things that I did when I first started is I shared the water with some of my friends and family to get their opinion about it. You know anybody who might need to be better hydrated and might enjoy feeling a little bit better once they get better hydrated? And Bill says, well, Jerry, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. And I say, okay, fantastic, Bill. Who do you know? And he says, well, I've got this friend of mine at work, John. And I've got my sister, Kathy, and my best friend, James. Okay, fantastic. He just gave me 3, right? So with those 3 names, the next time I bring water over to Bill, I bring Bill his water, but then I also bring enough for samples for Kathy, for John, and for whoever the hell the other person's name was. I don't remember. What was the other one? I don't even remember. But basically, I have Bill be the one that actually gives them the water. I don't tell Bill, give me their names and address, and I'll start giving it to them. No. Nay, I say. I will then bring Bill the water so he can give it to them. Now, what am I doing with Bill without Bill even knowing it? I'm turning Bill into a distributor. That's what I'm doing. Because Bill now starts giving the water to those people. And then he says when they need more, oh, Jerry, yeah, they asked for more. And, oh, they had this question. So now I'm giving Bill the answer, and I'm funneling all that stuff through Bill so he can take care of it. And I've actually seen a string happen where you have connected people. Because basically what you want to do is, I really would like to have... What is... Okay, why is it doing that? Is there something that we need to click with the... Okay.
Should be back on now.
Yeah, make sure. Everybody can hear? Just a quick thumbs up as long as we've got good audio. Are we getting thumbs ups?
Yep, it's back.
Okay. Okay. So the best way to do it is, because you can do 2 different types of strings. You want to connect a string if you can. So I give the water to Bill. Bill gives it to John. John gives it to one of his friends. That friend is giving it to somebody else, and that somebody else is giving it to somebody else too. So you have all these people that are actually connected. Well, when that person on the end decides they want to buy, now every one of those other people in between have to decide to give up that sale if they choose not to basically purchase their own and be the referrer to the person they were giving water to. I hope that makes sense, okay? I've actually seen one person lead to 5 sales because the person at the very end decided that they wanted to buy, and right when they told the person, it was a fear of loss, fear of loss, fear of loss, fear of loss. So everybody in between purchased as well. So it can be very, very effective, okay? Very powerful selling tool. Okay, let's go. Okay, so some of the string strengths. Again, creating a string is training a potential distributor. It teaches them to talk about the water, teaches them to deliver and give out the water, and teaches them the principles of anchoring. It maximizes your efforts by using their contacts. That's tapping into someone's warm market. That's what that whole thing means, okay? And again, try to make associate strings, not family strings. You don't want to have, you want it like a friend to the coworker. The coworker's giving it to his mom. The mom's giving it to her friend. That friend is giving it to her brother. You don't want it, I'm giving it to my cousin, and my cousin's giving it to my niece.
Okay, it should be back now.
Okay, do we have good sound now?
I don't know why it keeps cutting out.
Okay, I need to know that I don't want to keep talking if they can't hear me. So if you can hear me, can you please? Did it go out again?
No, I don't know why it's doing.
Okay, I don't either. So it's okay. It's okay. It's probably Facebook. they're, they make tons of money, but they don't put it back into their own stuff. So, okay. Can everybody still hear me? Okay, great. So I hope that makes sense too, that you want to try to, make the string be an associate string, not just a family string. You don't want to sample 5 people in the same household. Why? Because if they decide to buy a machine, they're not going to buy 5 machines. They're going to buy 1 for that household. So if you see what I'm saying? So yeah, you could sample the household, but don't think that constitutes you're sampling 5 different people. Okay, because it's not. Because if it's only going to lead to 1 machine sale, then that's all it is. It's only 1 finger. Okay? All right, let's go to the next one. So anchoring through exposures. These are, the exposures. It's really a key component to anchoring. The exposures expand understanding. So they have a better understanding of the water, how it's working, why it's working. The stuff like, the demo video, a magazine, a brochure. Those things will help them understand everything better. When someone understands something better, it will stimulate their interest. As their interest increases, it leads to commitment. And as the commitment increases, it leads to an eventual purchase. So understand that the more exposures, the stronger the connection. And that's really what we want. We want that really strong connection. And because when you have that really strong connection, it's much, much more beneficial for you. Okay. So things like the presentations, executive luncheons, corporate office, the different materials, videos, trainings like this, the successful distributors and kind of like their backgrounds and stories, even like the Change Your Life magazine, those are all the most successful distributors in Enagic. It's a great tool because once people start looking at the backgrounds of some of these people, they might find people that they can relate to and be like, wow, this person was a pharmacy tech? Well, that's what I do. Or this person was a this or that, whatever it happens to be. That's why the more exposures you can give a person, the greater the chances that one of those exposures is going to wind up being something that they connect to. Okay? All right, let's go on. So the anchoring summary, you want to learn the sampling process. You want to limit the number of fingers that you service. You want to turn your fingers into strings, maximize your efforts for the greatest potential, and continuing anchoring through the exposures. Again, that's those things like, the different, just the information that's going to help all of it make more sense. And effective anchoring can create massive results, okay? As a matter of fact, some of the most successful people in Enagic, that's what they did. Romy Videra, Daniel D. McCauley, Bob Gerdelli. I could just, the lists are very, very long. And Romy Videra was the one who really, kind of set the bar for giving out water. And a lot of people have followed suit with that. And I'm here to tell you, the water is a better salesperson than you'll ever be, than I'll ever be, than any of us will ever be. Why? Because I can't make someone feel better because they're properly hydrated. No matter how much I talk to them, I'm not going to be able to facilitate that. Why? I don't have the ability to. But the water can. Okay? All right, let's go on to the next thing. Okay, this one is one of my favorites, and there's going to be some meat and potatoes here. Okay? Can everybody do me a favor too? If we do, we're not sure exactly why the audio's cutting out when it's cutting out. I have a feeling it has something to do with a setting on Facebook that, like an inactive setting, because it can't see me. It doesn't know I'm doing all this. It wants like buttons tapped and everything. If the audio goes out, can somebody just please click in no audio, like as quickly as possible if it cuts out for you, because we want to make sure that we try to figure out what the problem is and get you guys the information, because I don't know sign language, so that is not going to work. Okay, unless you guys can read lips. If you guys can read lips, then don't worry about it. Okay, all right. So dollars and cents, not CENTS, cents. Okay, overcoming price objections. Let's move on. So let's start with why consumers question price. Okay, obviously to understand the cost of a product. to be able to budget and save for something that they might want. So they can do price shopping. Okay, now one of the things I put a little notation on there, be careful with this one. Price shopping will only happen in the ionizer industry when someone goes online. Okay, that's when it happens. Why? Because other ionizer sellers have made it their goal in life to let us do all the work, and then people go onto the internet, which they know this happens. People go onto the internet and they will search for it, and then they buy rankings, they buy all this stuff to try to say, hey, what you're about to spend your money on, you can get the same thing somewhere else for cheaper. Okay? That's why price shopping is very, very dangerous. Why? Because it's never the same thing. Okay? And I'm going to teach you some techniques as we continue that will allow a price shopper to be put in their place very, very quickly. Okay? Which is very important that that happens. What's another reason that they question price? Conditioning and habit. Why? Because we are now, pretty much the whole world buys things. Okay? The barter system still exists, but for the most part, we use money of some sort as a way to switch things over. Everything good? Okay. Another reason, deal seekers. This is people that they're trying to negotiate the price. Okay. Doubt or uncertainty. That's another reason a person will question the price, because they have not established in their own mind the value and worth of the product. And then research, which is our biggest foe. And again, it's funny, research and price shopping, they go hand in hand, because the research is people going online and thinking that what they're going to find online is the same as all the books that you need to read and in-depth reports you need to review and hours and hours and hours of videos, and not marketing videos, informational videos. They don't understand what really takes. They think if you type in alkaline water and whatever pops up is the gospel, and that's one of our jobs is to make sure that people don't think that, because that's not what it is. Okay? All right, let's continue. So it's really important to know what the competition does, okay? What they will actually do is, one, they'll promote an inflated price, list price to establish perceived value, okay? They'll claim to be equal or superior. They'll offer discounts to close the sale and eliminate returns, which I'll explain. And they'll create a sense of urgency, a today offer, like this is only valid today, okay? And they talk bad about other brands and mainly us. Why mainly us? Because we're the only ones anyone compares themselves to. Why? Because at the end of the day, we are the best in the industry. And why would you compare yourself to somebody who wasn't better than you? That would be like me going, you know how fast I can run? I can run faster than that 4-year-old kid over there. Is that supposed to be impressive? Because it's not. If I said I can run faster than Usain Bolt, and then I could, well, that would be something to claim. That would be like, oh, wow, that's awesome. But you have to make sure that what's happening is understood by the prospect, that the things that they might see, it's contrived. It's not real. Okay. So I have this little notation on here that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. Unlike other brands, which will quickly offer a discounted price if they think it'll land a sale, Enagic does not base the price of their products on what each consumer is willing to pay. The prices are set based on carefully calculated pricing algorithms, pricing models, market factors, and they're set the same for everybody. A person buys this product, I don't care who it is, they have to buy it. That's just the way that it works. It levels the consumer playing field, all right? So one of the reasons that so this is what they'll do, this is what I said, I'll explain. I've heard this so many times, and I've actually experienced it myself with a trial. I contacted a seller, and I know other people have done this too, and said I was interested in their product, and they ran me through this whole rigmarole. Well, one of the things that they did is they told me that I was getting ripped off by whoever had introduced me to Enagic. That all that person was trying to do was make money off of me. So the first thing that they tried to do was employ psychological tactics to try to make me not trust the person who had originally introduced this concept to me. That's the first thing that they tried to do. Then what they try to do is say that the Enagic products are overpriced. Well, we're in the ionizer industry, and we know that it doesn't cost that much. And our machine is just as good, if not better, but ours is $2,000 less. Well, right off the bat, I'm a savvy consumer, and I know that's not the way it works, okay? But this is what they tell people. And not every consumer is as savvy as I am. They're not as savvy as you are. So keep that in mind, okay? This is the stuff that they will do. They will say, hey, listen, I know you really want to get this technology. And I know it's something that's really important to you and your family because you care about them. Again, they use every psychological manipulation that they can and have at their disposal, okay? I'll tell you what I'll do. I want you to be able to get the technology, so I'm going to take another $500 off the price. Our normal $2,000 machine, it's only going to cost you $1,500, but I can only do it today, okay? Well, then the person, and the person on the other line is a master manipulator that all they do is try to close the sale when they get the call because they know if the person doesn't buy then, it's over. They will not be calling them back because it usually doesn't happen, okay? So the person on the phone says, okay. Well, then they get the machine, they hook the darn thing up, and then they find out the thing does not produce properties that are strong enough to do anything less than the sampling that they were getting before. So old water from an Enagic machine was doing better than the fresh stuff out of one of these other ones. So they contact the company and say, hey, look, this thing isn't working the way you said it was going to. I'd like to return it. You know what they tell you? Oh, I'm sorry. You can't return it. Wait a second. You told me I had a lifetime return. I have this. I have that. Yeah, it's when they gave you that discount, they flipped the script on you, and now they're calling that a wholesale purchase. And in their agreements, it says wholesale purchases are not subject to return. You cannot return a wholesale. So now they can legally tell you you can't get your money back, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can make a complaint to the Better Business Bureau, but at the end of the day, if they don't want to abide by it, they don't have to. Why? Because they tricked you into doing that. This is the stuff that they do. You need to know that as a distributor. Why do you need to know that? Because if you don't know what your prospects are being faced with, you'll never understand why your prospects aren't coming back to you and why you keep losing sales. You won't understand it. So it's really important that you understand that, okay? All right, let's go on. Okay, why people purchase a product. Okay, first, emotion versus logic. Stories are relatable. Technical specs are not. All right? Most people are not scientists. So stop focusing so much on the science. A person will tell you if they need to know about the science. Most people want to know benefit over like that's what it says. You know, okay, hold on. Learn from commercials. That's one of the other ones that I'm going to say. Learn from commercials. Well, what can I learn from commercials, Jerry? I usually turn those off. I TiVo through those and, you know, I fast forward. Stop doing that. Start watching them. Why? Because somebody has paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in order to figure out how to appeal to a consumer. And that, the body of their work are the commercials. So if you look at their approach, you'll be able to start tailoring your own approach, understanding how they do it, okay? I'm going to give you this one, okay? You want to know how to approach a consumer? Watch television commercials. Millions are spent in market research and demographic studies to see what motivates buyers to buy. Car commercials are a great example. Best in its class. Okay, now tell me if you've ever seen or heard this, okay? Best in its class, with twice as much torque as any other truck. And that's followed by an image of a truck pulling a really, really unbelievably heavy load, sometimes even another truck. Because they're not trying to impress people with a bunch of technical info. They're not telling you what the pounds per square foot is for the torque. They don't mention any of that stuff. They just show a nice looking truck pulling a bunch of heavy stuff, which makes their point and gives the consumer what they actually want. What do they actually want? They want to know what it can do, not how it does it. Okay? Keep that in mind. They want to know what it can do, not how it does it. Yes, you are going to find people that are more like an engineer type mindset. But percentage-wise, it's so tiny that if that's how you lead it, you're going to ostracize tons of people. Because for every one person that wants that, there's 1,000 who doesn't care. Okay? So stop catering to the one and neglecting the 1,000. Flip that. figure out how to appeal to the 1,000. And when the 1 comes along, yeah, make sure that you know that information as well, because you don't want to just send them on their way. But the 1,000 is going to be a much bigger group to go after. So make sure you're thinking about that, okay? I think your cell phone is a very good example of that, because for you personally, okay, ask yourself, what kind of person are you? Did it go? Okay. When you bought your cell phone, did you buy it for the product specifications or did you buy it for the features? Did you buy it because of the amount of power? I mean, did you check all that stuff? Wow, Jemiah, really? Why is Jemiah calling me? Okay. Okay. Sorry, that was just a family friend. I'll have to call him back. But most people do not buy something like a cell phone because of the specifications. You know, I've never seen anybody go into a place like, you know, go into a Verizon store and ask to see the manual for the phone and not the phone. I haven't. So ask yourself that. People want what it does, not how it does it. They don't really care. Can you imagine that if you weren't allowed to use a light switch unless you understood exactly how the light switch worked in conjunction with the light bulb? That you had to understand how the electricity gets through, how it's conducted, how it does this, how... No, why? Because all we want to do is use it. We don't want to know how. Because why? Because we don't really need to know how. So that's a very important part, okay?
Reminds me of the inventions that shook the world, the breathalyzer. The first rendition was horrible, and you had to be a scientist to use it.
That's true. We watched this thing called Inventions That Shook the World, and in the 50s? It was 50s, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the 50s, a guy invented the breathalyzer, and because he was sick of seeing people, because people were getting drunk and killing other people on the road. And at first, it didn't work very well because you literally had to be a scientist to be able to even utilize the thing. So it had to be simplified until it got to the point where any patrol officer could use it. Because, you know, you didn't want somebody to have to be a scientist. Why? Because then you'd have to have a scientist, going with all the patrol officers. It wouldn't make any sense. So that's a really good example of like practical application. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep myself organized here. So there we go. Okay. All right. Be the example. Yeah, this is one of the things I think a lot of people forget too, is you be the example. How did you overcome the price? Because I'm telling you, for the most part, there might be a very, very small select group of people who, when they get introduced to the Enagic products, are just like, oh yeah, I've got $4,000 just laying around. I've got $5,000 just laying around. Yeah, let me just buy this machine. You're going to run into far less people like that than people that are like, I need to know about the cost. Okay, there's going to be a price objection. So how did you overcome the price for you? The way I look at it is like, there's different ways. A physical reason. Now that I'm properly hydrated, and here's the other thing too. You guys want a little cue about medical claims? Don't claim medical. But it is a proven fact that a properly hydrated human being is a healthier human being. And that the vast majority of people, at least in the United States of America, are chronically dehydrated. So get in your vernacular, get it set, and always mention hydration. Hydration. Why? Because if you're mentioning hydration, nobody can counter that. They can't tell you that's a medical claim. Well, maybe it could be considered a medical claim, but the reality is that sufficient water in a properly hydrated person will be healthier just because of metabolic processes and all that type of stuff. You will be healthier if you're properly hydrated compared to being dehydrated. So set that, the word hydration, proper hydration, properly hydrated. Keep those in your vernacular, and that will be your medical claim without making a medical claim. That when you're properly hydrated, the human body is healthier, period, okay? So for me, it was like, now that I'm properly hydrated, I feel better. Financial, I'm saving and making money. That made it easier for me when it came to the price. Emotional, but this is how I explain it to somebody. Emotional. Let me ask you this: if you were feeling physically bad, does the way you feel physically ever affect your emotions? Yeah, you ever felt like crap and you're just a bear all day long? You're just a freaking yeah. You know why? It's because you're not feeling very good. Well, if all of a sudden you start feeling better, it will have a positive impact on your emotional state. Okay. Your warm and hot mark, that's why you want to talk to those people. You want to make sure that you're communicating with them because they're relatable to you. Your warm and hot market are the people that know you and hang out with you. And so they will listen to you. Okay. And that's one of the reasons you also want to make sure that that's where you start. Okay. Because you want to practice with people that will be forgiving in your errors. And again, remember your own personal reasons. Why did you purchase yours and how did you personally overcome the price objection? And if there is any, that's what you want to do. Okay, let's go on. How many people got it?
122.
Okay, here's another reason there might be a price objection. It's an unfamiliar technology or product, okay? When you have little to no point of reference, it's hard to understand value, okay? Most people don't know what a water ionizer is. We are still in the educational stage of the process of introducing this technology to the world. Okay. That's just a unfortunate fact of the matter that we are in the very, very beginning stages. And the reason I say that is because of the amount of people who have actually used the technology. And that's what I mean is the number of actual people using it compared to the overall market. We haven't even scratched the surface. Okay. So because of that, it can actually create a price objection that, a person, because they're not familiar with it. There's no automatic value or worth recognition. What that actually means, like if I was to tell you that, if I was to come to you and I told you that a Hyundai was the same thing as a Mercedes, most Americans, most people in the world in general, but most Americans are very familiar with automobiles. So if I told you that, you would come back to me and go, you're out of your mind, Jerry. How can you say that a Mercedes and a Hyundai are the same thing? Now, the reality is, if you actually look at the stuff of a car, they have more stuff in common than not in common. If you start making a list, which I actually did, it's one of the things that's in the resources that's going to be available to everybody, because there's printable training resources that I'm going to give everybody a link to that will give you access to some pretty cool stuff. Okay. But with our product, there's no automatic value or worth recognition. They don't know that a solid plate is better than a mesh plate. They have no point of reference because they've never heard of it before. Okay. What you want to do when it comes to an unfamiliar technology or product is just simply remind a consumer what they already know. Okay. What are some of the things they already know? One is you do get what you pay for. Okay. That's an old adage. But the reason it's an old adage and it stood the test of time is because it's true. Okay, it's accurate. Price is indicative of quality. Okay, in this world of ours, an overpriced product does not stay a product for long. Why? Because if it's overpriced, it will eventually stop being purchased and the company will go out of business. Okay, for an overpriced product. Now, a high-priced product, that's because it's quality. It's all those things, okay? So when you're talking about price is indicative of quality, here's some examples. A Rolex versus a Timex. Is there a difference? Well, yes, there is a huge difference. Timex doesn't use, jewel movement. The Timex doesn't have a 24 karat gold case. It doesn't have a lot of the different things that a Rolex might have. That's why, yes, they both can tell time, but they're not the same thing, okay? A wind-up plane with a little propeller that I throw and an F-14, those are not the same thing, okay? Mercedes versus Hyundai, or an iPhone versus a $29.99 flip phone, okay? The thing that makes it different is, let's continue because I'll be covering what makes it different. So, understanding that perspective is reality, okay? Your perspective, or a person's perspective, is their reality, okay? It really is their reality. You want to create the reality that you want for your prospect, okay? So you want to ask things like, when it comes to like a price objection, is price the number one purchase consideration? Is it price? Okay. Most people, initially they might go, well, of course. And then you'd go, oh, wait a second. No, it's not. And I'm going to read something to you that I thought was pretty interesting. Okay. about price specifically. The value of a product is not determined by the manufacturer. It is determined by the end user. The manufacturer establishes the cost, not the value. The product gets purchased if the consumer perceives that the value or worth of the product is equal to or more than the actual cost. Here's an example of what I mean. The same model vehicle can have a difference in price of thousands of dollars. The same model, okay? The same exact model. Why? Because what one person values in their car, another person may not, and that other person will not pay for it. The value of a product is usually determined by the benefit it will bring to the consumer. The greater the benefit, the higher the value. The higher the value, the higher the cost. That's called Consumer 101, okay? So understand that price for most people is not actually the most important price. It's definitely a consideration. But at the end of the day, what you're getting for that price is typically much more important than the price itself. Okay? The internet hazards. One is it's not regulated or policed. So make sure that you do understand that the stuff that people are going to find on the internet isn't necessarily accurate or true. I think we've learned that now in the last 2 years, probably better than any other time in our history. Fake news is fake news, right? If it's fake, it's fake. No matter who's saying it. I'm not trying to make anything political. I'm saying if it's not true, it's not true. Well, that's a lot of the ways that these other companies that are out there selling ionizers operate. They operate with fiction. They operate with deceit. And it's what it is. Is the online info questionable? Well, there was one seller out there that represented themselves as Consumer Reports, like literally Consumer Reports. And I contacted Consumer Reports to make sure that it wasn't in any way affiliated with them. And I got responded back by Consumer Reports, letting me know that no, this company has nothing to do with them, and that they were reaching out to try to tell them to create a cease and desist, to tell them to stop using the name Consumer Reports. Okay, so there's a lot of questionable stuff out there. It's also important as far as the reality that these guys try to create online. They are not, the other ionizer sellers are not consumer advocates. You know, they're like, well, I don't want you to get ripped off. No, that's not why they're saying it. It's not because they don't want you to get ripped off by, you see what they're saying? I don't want you to get ripped off by them. I want you to get ripped off by me. And they're using them as it's like, oh, those are the bad guys. You should be listening to me. It's like, no, you're the bad guy. And that's why you shouldn't listen to them. Now, one of the things too that, when it comes to the reason that our competition doesn't sample, it's because they can't. Okay? No matter what they say. Okay? No matter what they say. If a person is asking about a specific machine or something that's not an Enagic machine, all you have to do is ask this: will they provide you with water samples? Will they allow you to try before you buy? Okay, and the answer to all of them is no, they won't. Well, why won't they sample? It's been one of the strongest things for Enagic. One of the strongest marketing things for us to do is to sample water so people can actually try it, feel something, and decide that they want to move forward with the purchase of the technology. So why don't these other ones do that? If they've seen how successful it's been for us as Enagic distributors, why wouldn't they simply copy the process? If their machines are just as good, if not better, why don't they just copy the process and then do it themselves? Well, it's because their machines are not just as good, and they're definitely not better, and they can't sample the water. Why? Well, one, they don't have any distributors that care enough about the product to be willing to sample the water. Also, the properties of their water are not strong enough to sample. They will be degraded before the end of the day. So you can't give somebody 3-4 days worth of water. Why? Because the vast majority of the sample would be dead by the end of that first day that you give it to them, which means they wouldn't be getting any benefit from it. That's one of the main reasons that they don't sample. So if you have somebody who's saying, well, I saw this other brand, the first thing you should say in response is, well, do they sample? Well, I don't know. Well, ask them. And I say, but then you want to follow it up with this. Well, ask them. And let me tell you something. If they give you any answer other than yes, no matter what that answer is, you need to understand it's the reason that they don't is because they can't. They might try to use some other excuse, but the reason that they don't is because they can't, period. Okay? And again, remind the consumers of consumer common sense. It's like it's being lost. people are like forgetting to use common sense, okay? If someone tells you that something that costs $1,500 is just as good as something that costs $5,000, you have to ask yourself as a consumer, why would I believe that? Why would I believe that? Because if it was, Enagic would already be out of business. See, the funny thing is, Enagic USA is almost 20 years in business. Don't you think if it was an overpriced product that these other products were just as good, if not better, for much lower prices, don't you think Enagic wouldn't be operating anymore? Don't you think these other companies would be just like exploding with... No, they're not. Why? Because the stuff that they're saying isn't true. That's the reason. The stuff that they represent is not true. That's it. So again, consumer common sense. Okay? Let's move forward. Oh, hold on. You know what? Can we go back real quick? I'm sorry. Okay. So when it comes to price, here's another thing that you can actually say when it comes to price. All right? Is when it comes to price, this is 35, right? No. Oh, we're not on 32. Oh, this was 32. Okay, never mind. I'm jumping the gun. Let's go to the next one. So here's some of the proven responses to prospect questions. And when I say proven, I mean that people ask a question and this is a response that gives back and it had a positive effect, okay? So why doesn't Enagic advertise? If Enagic's such a big company, how come I've never seen them on TV? Well, because for a couple reasons. One, it's not a mass recognized product yet. The reason that we have an opportunity, folks, is because it's not a mass recognized product. If this was something that any consumer, if you walked into a store and you saw an ionizer and you're like, hey, I need one of those, that would be when we're already at a point where our opportunity is gone, okay? The fact that people don't know about it is the only reason that an opportunity exists for us. We're the mouthpiece to educate these people about its existence, okay? So again, I says not a mass recognized product yet. We're working on it. The Enagic model is not to hire celebrities or airtime. It's not. That's not what their business model is. Their business model is direct sales. Mr. Oshiro wanted to figure out a way to be able to take a product and have people with a yearning in their hearts for something better to be able to have an opportunity to improve their life for themselves and their families. A people-to-people type thing. Not a let me give somebody a $10 million endorsement deal. Let's get LeBron James to bounce a basketball with a big E on it. No, that's not what his model is. Why? Because LeBron James makes enough money as it is. Okay? He doesn't need to make more. People like us need that opportunity to be able to change our lives with something legitimate. Okay? And Mr. Oshiro wanted to be able to provide something like that. And that's why we have this opportunity. So, when somebody ever asks, well, why doesn't Enagic advertise? That's not the business model that the owner wanted. The business model that the owner wanted was so that real people could actually succeed. Okay? Here's another reason. Why doesn't Rolls-Royce advertise? Frankly, they don't need to. They don't need to. Why? Because everybody knows Rolls-Royce is the best in quality, in luxury, in opulence, in just amazingness. Okay? Understand that Enagic is a Rolls-Royce of ionizers. That's what we are. We don't compare to anybody. Everybody compares themselves to us. Think about all the different brands that say, we're just like Enagic. We're just like Enagic. We're just like Enagic. Well, why the heck would you compare yourself to somebody if they were not better than you? You don't compare to somebody who's worse than you. We don't compare. We don't ever say that we're better than anybody or that we're comparing to anybody. Enagic is just like that. We don't do that. Why? Because we're Rolls-Royce. We don't have to. Well, not that we don't have to, we can't, because there isn't anybody who's better anyway. So it's really important that everybody understands that's a great way to respond to somebody. It's like, yeah, the reason you'll see advertisements is because the best don't advertise. You don't have to. And you can use Rolls-Royce as an example. Go ahead. Here's more proven responses to the prospects. There's going to be 3 pages. 3 pages. I don't know what that was. 3 pages. 3 pages, okay? Offer water samples. You offer them water samples. It's the great equalizer. It's a try before you buy. This is what I was kind of explaining. The other brands don't do it because they can't. The water properties of their machines are too weak to be able to effectively sample. It's one of our biggest strengths. That's the reason you want to be able to use that. Keep that in your back pocket as a strong point for the company. It's like, yeah, one of the reasons that we sample is because we are so secure in the power of the properties of our water that we will let people try it for nothing. That's how secure we are in its ability. So if another company says they have the same thing, but they're not secure enough to do that, then maybe they don't actually have the same thing. See, this is how you take it and switch the thinking about it. Simple words. Wordplay is very important, but you want to make sure you say the right thing, and you want to make sure that you're being accurate with information. But once you learn these things, it becomes second nature. When somebody says something, you can just...
We're back.
Okay.
It is Facebook, I think.
Okay. Okay, and again, it is one of our biggest strengths, the ability to sample water. And that's why people who don't sample, I think you're really missing the boat. I really do. I think you're missing one of the best ways for us to succeed, because it really is something that sets us apart from every other ionizer that's in the market, okay? Price insistence. You tell somebody, hey, try the water. Well, how much is the machine? You know what? Just try the water. How much is the machine? Well, does it matter if the machine was only $10 and it didn't work for you? It didn't do anything for you. Wouldn't that be a waste of money? Let's just try the water. How much is the machine? You ever get somebody like that? I want you to employ what I call the Jedi mind trick. So here's the Jedi mind trick for you. All right. Somebody says, how much is the machine? They're just insistent. How much is the machine? It's expensive. How much is the machine? Okay, it's $10,000. You look them dead in the eye. You tell them it's $10,000. Now, most people, 10 grand for anything is pretty expensive. Okay, so they're gonna go, wow, 10,000, really? Immediately, you go, no, not really, silly. It's only 4,000. It's only 5,000, depending on which machine you're talking about. So if you're talking, say, the SD501, no, silly, it's only 4,000. You're talking about the K8? No, silly, it's only 5,000. Now, interestingly enough, there's psychology working here. When you start with 10,000, it creates what's known as perceived value. They now think the price tag for this thing is $10,000. Then you immediately follow up with that. No, it's not, silly. It's only, the word only, it's an emphasis on that it's not gigantic. It's only 4,000. Okay, well, if I was to say that to somebody, in their mind, they just saved $6,000. And a $4,000 price tag is much easier for them to digest than a $10,000 price tag. What's hilarious is if I would have started with 4,000, they would have had the same feeling as the 10,000. That's why you start. If you got somebody who's insistent on knowing the price before they've ever experienced anything that can establish value, that's when you employ that Jedi mind trick. Okay? And then you just say, this is the ionizer you're looking for. Okay, go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, this is the one. So here's the prospect questions number 3, proven responses. You want to put the price, quality, benefit into perspective, okay? Because price, quality, and benefit are very important on a product, right? So if you have somebody who, they're asking you, they're having these price objections, you can say to them, they're like, hey, it's really expensive. And you say, hey, let me ask you something. How much was your car? And it doesn't matter. They could be driving the biggest piece of junk. They could be driving, a Maybach. It doesn't matter what they're driving, okay? You ask them, how much was your car? Oh, my car was $35,000. No matter what they say about the price of the car, immediately your response is, oh my God, you got ripped off. And they're going to be like, wait, what are you talking about? You don't even know what kind of car I drive. Well, it doesn't matter. If you're talking about price, quality, you're talking about the price of something. You paid $35,000 for a car. Are you out of your mind? A really good pair of walking shoes is only $100. And for the most part, you can get the same benefit. Might take you a little longer. Might have to have the wife and the kids ride on your shoulders. But at the end of the day, it's transportation. So if you're saying that the price is too much, you have to ask yourself then, well, wait a second, what am I actually getting for that price? See, it's really, in my opinion, it's a great thing in sales
It's back.
Okay. It's a really good idea to do something that allows your prospect to have that aha moment with a seed that you planted.
And it's back.
Okay.
I have no idea, man.
Okay. The next question would be, are you married? And again, this is about price, okay? Are you married? Well, why would you care if I'm married? Because if price is the biggest concern, then for your last anniversary gift for your spouse, did you go to the 99-cent store for that? I mean, it's price, right? Because that's all you're thinking about is price. Yeah. You want to know why you didn't go to the 99-cent store for your anniversary gift? Because you didn't want to be a widowed. You don't want your spouse to kill you. That's why. That's the reason that you didn't, okay? And aren't you and your family worth it? That's another really good question to ask somebody. Yes, there's a price to this. The question is, aren't you worth it? Aren't you worth it? I could understand if it was $1 bazillion, but it's not $1 bazillion. It's manageable. So aren't you and your family worth it? Those are really good responses to somebody because it makes them think. Okay, let's go to the next.
Did you do whatever you needed?
What was that?
35?
Yeah. Okay, so the price objection summary. So it typically happens after research, okay? This is just like any other consumer product. You want to use Enagic strengths to sell the story, not just the product, okay? That's the things like the sampling, the history of the company, its mission, all that good stuff. Use tools and resources to make it easier for you. Why is your machine valuable to you? Think about that and then learn how to verbalize that to somebody else so that they might be able to relate to you on why it was important to you. And also understand, you should be in this for the long haul, and your prospects should know that you're here for the long haul. I have customers from 15 years ago that still contact me with questions today. And guess what I do? I pick up the phone and ask them. Do you honestly think if somebody bought a machine from one of these other sellers that 15 years down the road, they're going to be able to just call them up and ask them a question? No, because a lot of them aren't even in business anymore. So there's our summary. What do we got next? Okay, let's go ahead and do our second giveaway, and we're going to be doing it for 10 of the Global Business Review magazines. Okay, here's the thing. If you're a distributor trying to build your business and you want other distributors, in my opinion, and I'm biased because I wrote this, but in my opinion, there is nothing better to effectively explain the aspect of the business than this magazine. There is stuff in here, there's stuff like this that allows you to really see a breakdown, and it has an explanation of the commission structure, how the whole thing works, things about the company, the mission of the company, all those different things are in this. So this is going to be for 10 of these. Now I'm going to let everybody know this question is going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay. But if I want to mention this magazine, this one. These brochures. So the Feeling Trapped, weight loss. Okay.
Could you say the name of the magazine one more time?
Global Business Review. This one, eco-friendly. Is anybody thinking that climate change and ecology is a big thing right now? That's why that one was created. Tap Into a Fortune, business op. Balanced Beauty. This one is great for anybody who cares about how they look. This one's really great. The Feeling Trapped. This one's really great, especially right now. Everybody's still doing their New Year's resolution stuff, and weight loss is a huge one for that. This one too, the Hardcore Hydration. It's all about sports, and that's a big deal for a lot of people. Those to me are this magazine and the other magazine are really the most important ones. And I want to mention this. Okay.
We're back.
Okay. Is it on a level? Is it cutting out at a certain level?
It's just, yeah.
Okay. We're going to need to figure that out for the next one. But let's go ahead and do this, and I'll cover the rest of the stuff later. I will. So here's our question. And again, this is a little bit more difficult. So the first person that we see in the chat that has it will win, okay? Here we go. In what year was Enagic granted a patent for the 8-point business model? In what year was Enagic granted a patent for the 8-point business model? Now, it was granted by the Japanese Department of Patents and Registration and all that good stuff. But in what year did that happen? And again, the reason I have this as a question is that's a year that you should know. Why? Because no one else has their comp plan patented. No other direct sales company has a patented comp plan. Why? Because it's not, theirs aren't unique. Theirs aren't special. Ours actually is. Anybody even close? What are people putting?
1988, 1995, 1978, 1943, 2005, 2007.
Come on, you guys.
2010.
Well, someone was closer.
2008, 2013, 2004, 1995, 2000, 1996.
You guys,
No,
there was a couple people that were real close. They were right in there.
95, 80.
Nope. Okay, I'm going to have to give you guys a hint.
2012, 2015.
Okay, so there was 2010 and 2012 that were both said. If anybody could just go in the middle, you'll get it.
1985,
Oh my God, did you guys just hear what I said?
No, there's the delay.
Oh, okay, I'm like...
1999. There it is, James C. Ruber with 2011.
Very good.
Raber, pardon me.
James
Raber.
James Raber, congratulations, my friend. You just got yourself 10 of these bad boys. Now, these do have a cover price of $14.95, but they're actually only $5 right now. So it's still 10 of these is $50. Okay, so you're getting a little bit of value there, and I think you'll enjoy this magazine in your prospecting endeavors. So, James, make sure that you send me a private message with your full name and your mailing address so I can get those shot over to you. Okay. Okay, let's burn through this real quick.
Yes.
Okay. A lasting impression, materials and resources. Go for it. There's two different types of markets. There's commercials. This is the thing. You need to know what you're doing for a commercial market, like restaurants, spas, gyms, and health clubs. And that's actually going to be one of the topics in our 26th. Let me make sure it's the 26th training. B2B commercial. Yep. So on the 26th, that is actually something we're going to be covering. But consumer, you just need the right tools. And that's what we're going to be covering today, okay, is the consumer. Go ahead. Okay, so you want to start with a general approach when it comes to, introducing the water to people as your prospects. You want to really go with the things that apply to just about everybody, okay? It's water basics, the uses basics, the benefits basics, all the basics, okay? And then you can start looking into special interest. Now, I do have those in the quotes, and that's because they're not really special interest. So if somebody was to say that weight loss is special interest, I guess it could be, but the reality is that you've got, 5 billion people on the planet that probably care about weight loss? So it's not a special interest. It might be a personal special interest, but generally speaking, it's a general special interest, okay? Same thing with general health. Most people would want to generally be healthy, okay? That's just, so, understand that there's special interests that aren't really special interest, but kind of fall within that niche. As you learn, your abilities will evolve. Wait to be an expert until you hit like 3A, 4A, 5A. Get some experience under your belt before you become an expert, okay? Which just basically means call on other people that have more experience and learn from them. Okay. So you want to identify the hot buttons because they lead to hot results, all right? Special interest are hot buttons. They speak to the individual. Many people have the same type of special interest, like I just mentioned. We made brochures that were made to address several specific areas, okay? You've got extreme sports and athletics, beauty, cooking, environmental, general health and wellness, weight loss. There's a bunch of different things that are for those very specific hot buttons that might be the flavor of the day for that particular person you're talking to, okay? Where, all of those things might be important to them, but today, because of their New Year's resolution and putting on some pounds during the pandemic, weight loss is like that really important thing to them right now, Okay, so just understand that there's different hot buttons. You want to find the one that's the hottest right now. Okay? All right, let's move forward. You need to make sure that you understand the ultimate goal of our marketing efforts, okay? The ultimate goal of our marketing efforts is not just to make a sale, okay? The ultimate goal is to find the glue that will connect a person to the project and really encourage them to want to participate in the aspect of distribution, because they know that not only can they make a dollar, but they can make a difference. And being able to do that is usually very important for people. So you need to find the glue that sticks them here, okay? We need to capture interest. We need to get people interested in what it is that we have, because again, remember when I said, interest leads to the connection leads to being connected. That's the best way to do it, okay? You have to realize that what people really want to know is, how does it affect me? How does it benefit me? And what's in it for me? That's what people really want to know, is how is it going to really affect them? So make sure that you understand those things. And you'll be able to explain those things to them, because that's really what our efforts are, is answering those questions and finding that glue. Because the answers to those questions are the glue. Okay? All right. So you want to get their interest in order to get the sale. You have to understand that about 10% of a person's interest is logic-based. Okay? About 90% of interest is emotional. So you want knowing that, okay? Because in sales, like I said, it's why do they show the commercial with the truck? Because they're trying to sell the experience. That big old truck going through the tundra. They're trying to create an experience for you so that you can picture yourself behind the wheel of that bad boy, going over that berm, looking cool as you're coming up in front of the restaurant, after a hard day's work. That's what they're trying to create, this experience. Why? To appeal to your logical side? No, they're trying to appeal to your emotional side, okay? So tap into the emotional side. Listen. If you listen, prospects tell you exactly what they need and want, okay? They do. So if someone wants to say, oh, I love going for a run. You're just talking to somebody oh, I love running. Well, that's fantastic. In your mind, you should be like, hardcore hydration brochure and the physical fitness magazine would be perfect for this person. Why? Because they both speak the language that this person enjoys. I hate what's happening to the environment. Oh, the eco brochure. I love cooking, cooking innovations brochure. I hate that I'm looking older. The balanced beauty. There's an answer. We should have an answer for every situation. Okay. And again, learn to listen. That's what sales is really about. Listening and then providing solution. Let's go ahead. So the ultimate goal of our efforts, show them how it pertains to them. Okay, you want to definitely show them how it pertains to them. Capture their interest with targeted information. Basically speak their language. Strengthen their bond and connection to not only the water, to the product, to the business, ultimately even to you, okay? Targeted exposure is going to equal interest and involvement. And that's the reason that these were created. That's the reason that all the information was put out there. That was what I wanted to mention. Now that I'm here, I can. So if you go on to, oh wait, I'm still not there. Gosh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and go to the next one. Tools of the trade. Here's a summary of tools of the trade. And I actually have these. And I know like last year and the year before, it probably wasn't that big a deal. But one of the things you definitely want to have is a calendar. Okay. And I just pulled out the ones that I had readily available. This one was from 2017. This one was from 2018. This one was from 2019. This one was from 2020. And this is a 2021-2022 calendar and planner. If you don't have one of these, you're missing the boat, because you need to get organized. You need to know what's going on. You need to make yourself a schedule. You need to do those things for you. Okay. So a calendar, it's absolute must. Printed materials, in my opinion, absolute must. Why? Because they're number one in credibility, effectiveness, and value. People aren't stupid. Okay. They know that an email. Okay, hold on. People aren't dumb. Hold on. People know that email's free. Yeah, that's a good one. People know that email is free, okay? Whenever anything is free, it has what's known as diminished value. Why? Because it's free. So it really reduces the value in the eyes of a person. That's why instead of this saying free or complimentary copy, it says $14.95. Why? because I want the person that sees this to understand the stuff inside of it has value. It's established right there. That's why this doesn't say free copy. Because if free copy has no value, okay? Printed requires an investment. It requires money. When people know that, it gives this thing more value. Why? Especially right now. I don't know if you guys know what's going on in the world of printing. You probably don't, unless you're a printer. Paper prices are through the roof right now. I mean, they are through the roof. The only reason I'm going to be able to offer these at the price that I am is because of the fact that I had these printed already. If I had to print these right now, like quite literally, they'd be almost double the selling price. It's getting crazy out there. A lot of people know that. So that gives a printed page even more value right now because less people are doing it, okay? You also have to understand, printed is safe and controlled. If you give this magazine to somebody and they go through it and they read it, I can absolutely promise you, I can say this with every assurance, every fiber of my being, I promise you that this magazine will not have one pop-up ad. Not one. Okay? And in this day and age, that's a big deal because a pop-up ad can take somebody from serious interest to forgetting what they even saw 15 minutes ago. Okay? So keep that in mind. Materials also allow for more opportunity. There's things that you can do with these that, like, putting them in locations to be able to try to stimulate additional interest. Okay? Also, you want to do your homework when it comes to any type of materials. You need to know who you are trusting with the stuff that you're giving people, okay? Now, the website that I have that all this stuff is available, which I'm going to cover in just a second, there's actually a page that says compliance. If you go to that website to check out my stuff, I would appreciate it if you would go to the compliance page and read the entire thing from the top to bottom. I know it's a little bit lengthy. It's not that lengthy, but it's lengthy enough. But I would appreciate it if you would read that because you're going to have a better understanding of the amount of time, effort, energy, and everything that went into producing these. These were not haphazardly done. These were not just sporadically done. There was a lot of intention behind these. To the point where attorneys were used to review them to make sure that we weren't violating any kind of laws and that we were protecting not only the company, not only the consumer, not only the distributor, but also ourselves. So we were protecting everybody. I think it's important for everybody to absolutely know that, okay? It's important to know who is the source of the information that you're relaying to other people. Because I think too many people are just like, I'm hearing information that sounds good, so I'm going to relay that information. You need to know who that information is coming from. Because even if it sounds good, if it's not coming from a reliable source, then you probably shouldn't tell somebody that because it's probably not accurate. Okay? You want to make sure that everyone is protected. That's the biggest thing. Okay, go ahead. So distributor resources, here they are. You've got Enagic. Enagic.com, you've got the Enagic Distributor Support Portal, you've got the Enagic Web Systems, EWS, for approved websites, you've got EWS Distributor Back Office, and the eFriends. All of those are fantastic distributor resources that as a distributor, you should understand that those are resources for you, and you should be utilizing those in your promotion of your business. And there's a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about here. So if you're one of those people who are like, wait a second, what are those 5 things? Yeah, 5. What are those 5 things? If you don't know what those 5 things are, that's going to be one of your homework assignments. Find out what they are. Go to the Enagic website and really start going through it. Have you ever sent somebody to the Enagic website? Because if you have, if you don't know what you're sending them to, why would you send them to? Why would you send them there? If you're going to send somebody to the Enagic website, you should go through that website and click every single link that it has, just so you kind of know what's there, okay? The Going 6A Distributor Resource website. Now, this is my site. I've been running this for years now. It's going6a.com. It's got a video library, a document library, special report. There's the materials store. The video library, there's a ton of stuff. There's trainings like this. This is actually like the 20th training I've done on Facebook. So there's like 20 different Facebook trainings. There's also other stuff that I've recorded and done on that video library. And if you're not utilizing that, it's free for people to go access that. So if you're not using our YouTube channel for Going 6A videos, I don't know why you're not. You should go check them out. There's all sorts of really good stuff there that will really help people have a better understanding. Let's go ahead and go to the next. So Our Going 6A training special offer. This is our special offer. So the discount code is SAVE, S-A-V-E, lowercase. It's going to give you 20% off everything on the going6a.com store that's on our store page. That includes Ride the Wave. From that page, it includes the Pro Pack and the Leaders Pack. I'm going to let you know right now, if anybody is serious about building their business, okay? The Pro Pack and the Leaders Pack, that is more about getting enough materials for you to use and also for you to give some to your active team members. It's to encourage them to be active, okay? For me personally, okay, now you have to understand, the reason I printed all these things and made all these things so I'd have access to them, okay, because I have access to all of them. If I was a distributor that wasn't me, I would probably get the Pro Pack or the Leaders Pack and then look for some of the specifics that are really the targeted markets that I deal with, and I would order those up. And I would make sure that I have some on hand all the time in the trunk of my car. I would make sure that all of my most active distributors that I give them to. If I get an override from somebody, I have no problem giving them materials. Why? Because those materials are going to translate into another check for me. That's the reason. Okay? So use that. You can use that code for all of them. I'm going to let everybody know something too. If you are dealing with the India market at all in any way, shape, or form, you need to contact me because I have some fantastic materials that I will make you a fantastic deal on. Because I have some, I ended up getting a really good price on some printing a while back. I printed a bunch of these when Enagic first went into the India marketplace. I had a couple of my own personal prospects that were looking really, really good, but things in life happen. So if anybody is approaching the India market, anybody in is it Pennsylvania? Wait, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I think it is Pennsylvania. It's odd. Pennsylvania has the highest concentration of Indian people in the United States, I believe. But if anybody is approaching the India or working with the India marketplace, shoot me a private message and let me know, and I'll tell you what I've got, and we'll see what we can do. Okay. But yeah, so that's that. Go ahead and go to the next one. I don't even know what's next. Okay, here we are. We went about 15 minutes over what I was hoping for, but I think some of it was because of the issues we were having with the audio, which I apologize. We'll do our best to make sure that we try to figure out why it was doing that, and we'll have that situated for our next one. But if you have a question, like we talked about in the beginning of this, and you wanna ask it, type it into the chat, and my lovely assistant Vanna is going to. No, it's the Kangan kid, my son Nathaniel, who is helping me with this. If you have a question that you would like an answer to, just go ahead and pop it in there. But again, make them general questions, generalized, so that the answer can apply to as many people as possible, not just your specific circumstance, if that makes sense. And so if anybody's got any questions, now's the time. Do we have anything?
How long do you do the water share? I've gone 30 days. Should it be longer?
Okay, great question. So the question was, how long do you do a water share?
By Rita.
Okay, so Rita asked how long you should do a water share. Rita, I'm going to let you know, in my opinion, there is not a specific amount of time. The reason I say that is I think most of you guys know who Daniel DeMacaulay is. If you don't, Danny's a pretty, he's pretty high up there in the business. Danny was my personal sponsor, and when he first started sharing the water with me, I wasn't drinking it. He told me about this thing. I looked at it. I was like, this looks like some hokey stuff to me, man. He said, I'd like to share this water with you. I said, sure, buddy. He would bring it over. I would let it sit there. 3 days later, he'd call me up. Hey, I'm coming over with more water. And I would say, okay, cool, man. And then when I got off the phone with him, I'd go pour it down the sink and wait for him to arrive. Because I obviously couldn't give him back his bottles if they were full. I didn't want to insult my friend, even though I wasn't drinking water. So he did that with me for 3 months. 4 months. Almost 4 months. Then I finally started drinking the water. Drank that for a couple more months. And then decided to buy my machine. So in total, Danny brought me water for like almost 6 months in total between him starting and me finally buying the machine. I probably made Danny $1 million by myself through my position. So Rita, the answer to your question is, it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. Now, generally speaking, what you want to do is, let's say it's been 30 days. Okay, here's the way. When you start sampling somebody water, there's a progression that happens. You sample water, and the person, a couple days later, you call them up and you say, hey, I'm going to bring you over another batch of fresh water. Okay, fantastic. The minute that the person calls you and says, oh, hi, Rita, I just wanted to let you know, we ran out of water. We were wondering, could you bring us over a fresh batch? As soon as that happens, the relationship is now switched, because at first, when you're calling them, they're doing you a favor by trying your water. As soon as they ask you for the refill before you were ready to give it to them, they now are asking, you're now doing them a favor by providing the water. So that's when you can start pulling back a little bit as far as making it a little bit harder for them to get it. Okay, you still bring it to them, but maybe you bring it to them, and then the next day that you're going to bring it to them, you call them up and you go, hey, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm so swamped with stuff today. I can come over to drop off your water, but could you meet me at the gas station down the street from your house just so I can jump on and off the freeway, because I got so many places I have to go? Of course, you pull them out of their comfort zone just a little bit. And then you pull them out a little bit more and a little bit more, until eventually the person that you're sampling has to be coming to you. Okay? And then it's a matter of, you got to make sure that, if they are not abusing the sampling, which means they've seen benefit, they know it's working, they have the money to do it, yet they're not moving forward, that's when you need to start becoming unavailable. And I actually did this once. I said to somebody who was sampling, I said, okay, well, listen, I'm not going to be able to bring you water for the next 2 weeks. They said, well, why? And I said, well, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm not going to be around. And they said, okay, let's get my machine bought. Because they didn't want to go 2 weeks without it. So that's really the answer to the question. Is there's not really an answer to that question. It's really on you. But do try to set some parameters. What I tell people is, I usually say, when I start sampling them, I usually say, typically I sample for a 30-day period of time. That's how I'll start it. And then once the 30 days go, I will gauge exactly what to do from that point. Okay. Do you have another one?
What's the best way to tell your personal story without using medical claims?
So the best way to tell your personal story without doing the medical claim, that's a really good question, actually. I think what you want to do is just tie it into hydration. You can use generalized facts that probably applied to you. You could say something like, I don't know if you know this, but and again, this is what you can say. I don't know if you know this, but the majority of adults in America are chronically dehydrated, and they have connected chronic dehydration with a myriad of different issues. So once I got properly hydrated, I started feeling much, much better. It's not a medical claim. It's a fact. It's a fact that properly hydrated leads to improved and better health. So use that. And then just, it's like, okay, well, what kind of stuff? Yeah, and again, you can say things without saying things. Well, what it does varies depending on the individual. Because I might have a problem that you don't have. Okay, so there's ways that it's funny. There's ways that you can answer it without answering it. And it is a little bit more difficult, and it's actually an acquired and learned skill, but it can be acquired and learned. What else?
Are there any materials that you could recommend about water changing the body's pH level? Are there any materials or anything that cover that?
Not really. Not really. And that's not what the water does. The water does not change your pH level. And anybody who says that, they're inaccurate in that thought, okay? The pH is more of an indicator of other things, okay? The reason that the pH level is higher is because there's a higher concentration of active hydrogen. So the pH doesn't really matter. It's the active hydrogen. Why? Because active hydrogen can actually be utilized by the body as an antioxidant. Now, it's important that you know how. Well, it's like, how does that happen? And it's...
I guess the question is here, how do you prove that sort of thing happens?
Well, it doesn't.
Is there any
No, that's what I'm saying. The pH doesn't change your body's pH level. If it did, it'd probably kill you. That's the thing. You have to understand that the pH, it's more of an indicator. Like I said, the drops, Those are an indicator of the amount of active hydrogen that's present in the water. That's what that is. And the active hydrogen acts as an antioxidant for the body because it's able to donate an electron to a free radical, which basically once that... A free radical is a cell that's been destabilized. It's lost an electron and it basically starts messing with other stuff. Well, because of the amount of electrons that active hydrogen has, it's able to donate one without affecting itself, which basically renders the free radical as useless, and your body will just flush it out of your system. Okay, so it's important to understand the distinctions of those. Again, pH level isn't, when you drink a 9.5, it's not changing the pH of anything. It's not changing your pH. That's not how it works. What it's doing is it's super inundating you with a higher degree of antioxidants and active hydrogen and hydration. Those are the things, the negative ORP, those type of things are the things that actually make the difference. Okay.
Do you charge for bottles or bags you give out when you're sampling?
No. And you don't want to, because if you do, that means that you're selling them. Look, it's a business expense. If you can't start a business and understand that there's expenses that go along business.
Retell the question so they know what you're answering.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the question was, do you charge the person for either bottles or bag or water bags or whatever when you're sampling people? And the answer to that question, in my opinion, is no, you don't. And again, because it's an operating expense. It's a cost of doing business. It's not your prospect's cost of doing business. It's your cost of doing business. Okay? If you went to the Apple store and you saw a brochure about the new Apple, watch or whatever, and you picked one up and they said, "Oh, sir, that'll be $1." You already know exactly what you do. You set the stupid thing right back down again and go, "Yeah, I don't think so." It's like, well, sir, you're going to charge me so I can learn about this and potentially buy it? Are you kidding? So I would not suggest that. I just would. Same thing with the, with some of the materials. Like for people that are in Europe, like you can purchase all of my stuff outside the U.S. through my store, but the shipping's very, very expensive. So if you were going to do that, my suggestion is you talk to like 5 or 6 of your other team members and you say, "Hey, you guys, let's go in together and purchase this stuff. We'll have one shipping price that we'll be able to split 6 ways. And I can promise you it's going to wind up being cheaper than if all 6 of them did it individually." And I do want to save people money because I understand the cost of doing business. I had the same expenses. Actually, I had expenses that you guys probably never even had. When we first started this thing, we were spending $15 for a freaking container. $15 for me to sample 3 people. It was costing me $45 when I first started. We figured stuff out along the way, but when we first started, that's all we were. That's the information we were given. So, and obviously, we learned some lessons along the way. So yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to do that because also you want the expectation. I told you, when whatever you're doing, you're training that other person to do that same thing. That's what you're basically doing. So if you train them to say, this is a cost of doing business. This is, I will, bear that cost. And that's why when you bear that cost, you're going to be a little bit more selective of the people that you give it to. You're going to be a little bit more selective of the people that you're thinking about having join your business. See, if you just charge people, then it's indiscriminate. You're like, "Oh, I don't really care." If you're trying to build a business, you absolutely want to care who you're surrounding yourself with. Because if you're not surrounding yourself with positive people that are going to make your business better, then you're surrounding yourself with negative people that are going to make your business worse. And you got to realize that. So
this goes kind of into the next question.
Okay.
How do you feel about lending a machine out as a...
Okay, so here's the next question. How do you feel about lending a machine out as a way of sampling? I've had 3 machines stolen from me. So if that doesn't tell you... And these were people I knew. These were people that, I was very shocked that they just all of a sudden disappeared. I don't think that's a good idea. Mainly because it's not duplicatable. Yeah, I might be able to afford a secondary machine to give to somebody, but if 90% of my team can't, why would I try to employ that? I want to employ something that everybody can copy, that everybody can duplicate. Having that extra machine, I guess it might be convenient for some people, but I think at the end of the day, the sampling makes it easier because also, yeah, it's just not duplicatable. Unless you're going to spring for all the machines for your team to sell. I mean, if you've got $60,000, $70,000 laying around and you want to buy additional machines so that you can give to your people to give out as samplers, yeah, by all means. But I don't think that the normal everyday person has that ability. So yeah, I do not subscribe to the give a machine to somebody at all. And again, personal experience. But
makes sense. Okay, so this one is a clarification on fingers and strings.
Okay.
When you are giving water to your finger, do you give them the full 8 to 10 gallons for everyone involved in the string?
Yes, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to turn your finger into the distribution point. So I want to be able to bring 15 gallons of water to one person who they keep 3 gallons of that water and they give out the other 12. They give out 3 gallons to 4 different people. That's exactly what you're trying to achieve. And again, remembering that you're teaching that prospect actually how to be a distributor. You're teaching them how to give the water. And what you'd also want to do is, you bring them all the water and then you bring them a set of brochures. And you give them those to give to those other people. You basically use them as a conduit to get to the other people. And that way, your efforts, the efforts that you're actually putting out for one person is benefiting 5. That's what you're trying to achieve. Single effort that you would have been doing for one person is actually hitting 5. Because at the end of the day, filling up those few extra bags while you're filling bags of water or bottles of water, it doesn't take that much more time, energy, or attention to get that done. And so you're really not putting out that much more, but you are potentially having fantastically greater results.
What water do you recommend people start on when they're sampling?
Okay, the question is, what water do I recommend people start on when sampling? My opinion is 9.5. However, the reason I say 9.5 is because I want the person to feel something. Some people go, I don't want to give them 9.5. I might have a detox. That's exactly what I want. It is exactly what I want. Why? Because it lets them know something different is happening. Because it's not the same reaction they got when they went to their tap and they drank that. It's not the same reaction they got when they went to a bottle of Aquafina or Dasani or whatever and they drank that. It's not the same. It's not the same. And by having a detox reaction, even though it might seem like a negative thing, what you actually can show is our water is not the same. And if they did have a detox reaction, they needed that water more than anybody else did. That's why they detoxed. Now, when you're going to be sampling, if you start with the 9.5, understand that the detox is possible. You need to be very, very attentive for the first week. Like literally calling each day for the first week. Hey, it's Jerry. I was just calling to see how the water's going. I want to see if you're feeling anything, if you're noticing any changes or anything. Oh, not really. Maybe going to the bathroom a little bit more. Okay. Somebody tells me that. At least I know they're drinking it. So I'll call them the next day. Hey, just calling to say, yeah, it was weird, man. My stomach started hurting. Oh, it's probably just a detox reaction. Keep on drinking. If it gets too much for you to handle, let me know. I'll bring down the grade of water. I can bring it down. However, if you can handle it, it's better to get that out of your system faster than slower. Okay? Now, if it's a friend or family member that you have a very good, close relationship with, like I did with mine, I told them, hey, this is 9.5. And they were like, okay, what can I expect? And I'm like, well, you're probably going to detox. And if you do, just shut up about it. I don't want to hear about it. I want you to just keep drinking the water. And, because you need to get that out of you faster, sooner than later. Okay, so don't give me any junk about it. I don't want to hear, oh, I need to. I'm serious. I actually told one of my friends, I said, hey, man, stop being such a big baby and just deal with it and understand that the reason you're having that detox reaction is because of how messed up your body is currently. It's current, it's in its current, how come I can never say that word? Alliteration?
Alliteration?
Yeah, alliteration. In its current alliteration.
Iteration.
I was like, I always put extra words or extra letters. Yeah. In its current state, the reason that you're detoxing is because how messed up your body is.
And to add to that,
yes,
people are saying, well, people were scared by the reaction because they didn't know it was coming. So
I have a sampling sheet that I give people that literally covers that. It says this water can create a detox reaction. It's allowing toxins that have been built up in your body to finally be flushed out through proper hydration. So you want to make sure that they know about that ahead of time. Yeah, don't just. Would you seriously give somebody a present that has a lit M80 in it? No, you wouldn't do that. Why? Because the thing would explode. And it's like, you don't want to do that to them. You want to let them know exactly what's coming or what's potentially coming so that if it does happen, you can deal with that. And if somebody does come to you and you go, hey, look, this is like killing my stomach, then you just say, hey, look, it appears that maybe you're even more toxic than you thought. Let me go ahead and bring the grade of the water down. I'll bring it down to 8.5 and then we'll build it up a little bit slower. I was hoping we were going to be able to do this fast track so you could start feeling better immediately. But your body is in such a state of disarray that we're going to have to do it a different way. That's how you do it.
Is that sampling sheet available anywhere?
I actually think it's in the resources that you're going to have access to.
Nice.
Speaking of which, the resources you're going to have access to, let's go ahead and throw this in the chat because I see that we're actually a little bit past. So resources that are on, it's a hidden page.
The training resources?
Yep. It's a hidden page on going6a.com. So it's simply going6a.com/TR for training resources. So if you go to that page, you will be able to get those resources. Is it on there? So there's also, we have, were there any other questions?
Yeah, there was one or two others.
Okay.
I feel like they can be answered pretty quickly.
Okay, let's go ahead.
How do you dissuade people from buying used machines on eBay?
How do I? Okay, so right off the bat, used machines on eBay. If you're looking for discounted health, okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. If you're looking for a discount on anything, your health should not be one of them. Okay, I doubt that you look for your discount doctor. If you had to go into surgery, I doubt that your question to the surgeon would be, hey, I'm hoping you finish last in your class because I'm looking for a deal. Okay? No. If somebody's looking for a deal like that, which you have to understand, there's a reason it's on eBay. There's a reason it's on eBay. Either it's not what it's purported to be, or it's a distributor that doesn't know any better, and they're going to get in a lot of trouble when it gets found out. Okay? I would simply tell somebody, one of the worst things that you can do buying something on eBay, like one of these machines, is that one, it will not allow you to even have the opportunity to participate in the referral commission program. You don't have the opportunity at all. So you are right off the bat nixing yourself out of something that could potentially be very beneficial for you. So that would be the first one. Also, there's stuff with warranty. Also, there's stuff with the actual machine itself. We actually had somebody who purchased, not we, but I know of someone who purchased a machine online from eBay, and when they got it, the ionization chamber was gone. The thing that held the titanium plates, it was gone. They had gutted it, put it on there as sold as is, and the person bought it, and they couldn't even get their money back for it. So the reason that, look, when you can go to the actual seller, the manufacturer, anything else is buyer beware. Anything else is buyer beware, especially eBay. So I hope that answers that question.
And then the last one I think we'll end on
Okay.
is how to sample from a distance. Like if you have a client in another city or...
Okay, sampling from a distance, I don't suggest at all. Because really the way that you would have to do it is through another distributor, and unless they're on your team, it usually doesn't work. It usually doesn't work because the person will convince them. It just doesn't work. I don't want to start saying a bunch of stuff because it just doesn't usually work. If you've got somebody that's a close contact that is in a different market, the best way for me that I have found to approach it is say, hey, look, you've seen what I've been doing with this business, right? Yes. Okay, well, I'm trying to open up into other markets. And you're in a market that's not really heavily tapped into right now. I need that go-to person there. I need that person that I can give all my wisdom and information and knowledge to that's going to help them succeed. How would you like to be that person? Because if you'd like to be that person, I can I can get you how to get the machine, and then we can get you to start sampling people. It's been one of the best ways to develop a group and a business. And if you become the person sampling and you're the first one there, I'm gonna let everybody know. You want to know why JV did so well? Because he kind of sampled the Philippines. He got there first, and JV has a lot of the Filipino, in-country distributors under him as a result of that. So it's actually a great having somebody in an outside market is actually a benefit because they represent opportunity because there aren't other people around to get water from. Okay, so I think that's going to end it for the Q&A session. We're almost done, but before everybody goes, just a couple of quick stuff. You can leave it here. There's the links for the 2 other trainings, the 19th and the 26th, are both available. If you go onto Facebook and you hit the events thing, I think it'll pop up, or it should pop up, and you just click on that. And if you're going to go, please hit that thing. Let me know that you're planning on coming. And again, just because we like to know a general idea of how many people are going to be coming over here and what to expect. The discount code of SAVE is going to be valid through the remainder of February. I'm going to allow people, because I know sometimes, like, you come to one of these and you're like, well, hey man, I don't get paid for 3 or 4 days, or I don't have a check coming until I want to make sure people have the opportunity to get the stuff that's going to help them build their business and get it at a reduced price if possible. If you know me, you know that if I could, I would just give all this stuff away. That's just because that's why I do the giveaways and everything. What?
The answer to when Enagic got the patent for the 8-point business model was 2011.
Yes.
Just say that.
Oh, the answer for when Enagic got was granted the patent for the 8-point commission system was 2011. Okay. And again, one of the places that you can go to is on the Enagic website under the company and the company's history. And there's literally a timeline that starts in 1974 and goes all the way up to 2022. And if you go to each one of those, it's going to tell you the main things that happened throughout the course of the history of this company, including new offices opening, new markets that we went into, conventions that were held, global things that happened. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. And as a distributor, one of the reasons I've been as successful with Enagic as I have been is because I really dove into it. I have a deep understanding of the company and what really makes it. And all that understanding came from was review of information. And I mean, it's not that I'm that smart. I just know a lot because I reviewed a lot. It's not, I mean, this isn't just because, I mean, some of the stuff I know. So the next training will be next February 19th. Can you go ahead and pop that link?
Oh, for the next training?
Yes. What else do we have in there?
The 26th and questions.
Okay. So he's right now we're going to pop in the link for the February 19th training, and then we'll pop in one for the February 26th. And again, if you plan on coming, the reason that those are there is so that if you felt like this training was something that was good, that you got something out of, which I really hope that everybody does feel that way. Because I did put a lot of time into this, and I hope that it shows. I hope that the information was such that it's going to help you guys. On the 19th, we're going to be covering powerful prospecting, maximizing events, dynamic demo secrets, and even more. Okay. So it's going to be a very full one. Make sure that you mark your calendar and get your team there. And that's why we created the event pages, so that you have something that you can send to your team. Like you can take that link that he just put on there, do a copy, paste it into an email that you send to all your team. Say, hey, this is next Saturday's training by Gerald Kostica. I just attended this one. It was off the hook. I hope that's what you say. If that's not what you say, I don't want to know. Okay. So, but hopefully everybody enjoyed this and they got something out of this, but you share that information with your team. Also share the information with your team about the materials and the discount. Understand that if you want to be a good general, don't charge your soldier for bullets, man. They won't shoot. Okay. Understand that. So if you have aspirations to be a business leader, okay, that means develop an organization by which you have a team of other distributors that work with you and their efforts create monies for you. Get them ammunition. Get them brochures. Get them a Ride the Wave 6. Get them some of these magazines. Get them tools that are going to allow them to help make you more money. And tell them about it. It's like, share the information with them. Let them know that this could be beneficial for them, and encourage them to maybe watch it. The reason that this was recorded, right? Okay. The reason this was recorded was because we want people to have the opportunity to review the information again. This is going to wind up on the YouTube channel for.
I was about to say playback will be available on Facebook. And
the playback's going to be available on Facebook directly, as well as our the Going6A.com YouTube channel. It's going to be in both spots. So there's not going to be any excuse for somebody not to be able to access this information. Well, I don't have a Facebook account. Okay, that's fine. Go to YouTube. But as a distributor, it's your responsibility to get that info to your distributors. Because if you think they're just going to find it through osmosis, they're not going to. They're not going to know about this. So that's really what we're trying to do is encourage people to succeed. And a lot of times when the way that you have to do that is kind of hold their hand through the initial stages of the process. A little kid does not learn how to walk by simply telling them learn how to walk. You got to be hands-on. You got to be there, holding them up, taking those steps with them, letting them go, seeing that they're falling, grabbing them before they hurt themselves. There's all these different things. So think of it like that. A new distributor is like a baby learning to walk. But once you get them walking, what happens when a baby learns how to walk? Right after a baby learns how to walk, what happens? They learn how to run. Because they found a new skill set, and now they can improve upon it. So think about it like that, okay? You're developing a distributor. Teach them how to walk. Well, first teach them how to crawl, then teach them how to walk. Then they will learn how to run on their own. Okay? All right, guys. I think that's about it. Is there anything else that...
I don't think so.
Okay. What's our count right now?
108.
Okay. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to be here tonight. And like I said, I hope you really got something out of this. I had a good time. It was very enjoyable. I haven't done this for a while, and it, iron sharpens iron. So it actually makes it better for me. It reminds me of some of the skill set that I need to make sure I continue to have, and refreshers for me as well. So I really appreciate everybody being here. I guess I will see you next Saturday. Same time, same bat channel. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard, 7 p.m.-ish, I guess. Because right now it's 7:15, and as long as people are still on, and I wanted to make sure I covered as many questions as possible, I will have a Q&A session after every single training, because I think it's important to address things like people need clarifications of certain things that we covered throughout the course of the training. And that's exactly what I'm here for. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Now, here's a couple of things. Okay. So tomorrow is the Super Bowl, and it doesn't matter if you're a Rams fan or a Bengals fan. What's important is the spirit of the competition and the having fun. Okay. So everybody have a great time. I'm going to let you know, if you do have people that are, hang on a second. For some reason, I was thinking that one of these guys was on the Bengals. I don't think they are anymore. I know somebody was, but with some of these magazines, there are, you're gonna run into a lot of sports fans tomorrow, right? Wouldn't it be great if you could have given somebody at maybe a Super Bowl party or a little gathering, or even if you're at a restaurant or something watching a game or whatever you're doing, if you had like a couple gallons of water out in your car and some of these materials that you could give to a sports fan, that would be a good thing. Okay. Monday is Valentine's Day. Do not forget to take care. Don't go to the 99-cent store for your Valentine. They'll kill you. Okay. So enjoy the rest of the weekend. We've got another fantastic training coming up next week, and I really look forward to seeing you then. I hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Gerald Kostica. It has been an absolute pleasure. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, take care, be safe, and stay hydrated. Thanks, guys.